Amanda's words felt like a slap straight to my soul. She stood there in my son's kitchen, her perfect white wedding gown hanging behind her like some cruel symbol of purity. "The best gift you could give us," she said with that frozen smile, "is if you just disappeared from our family." Her voice dripped with sweet poison. Michael, my only son, nodded quietly beside her, not even looking at me. That moment, it carved something inside me forever. If you're hearing this, stick around. Hit like, comment, and tell me where you're watching from. Because trust me, you're going to want to hear how this ends. 3 years ago, I had sold my beloved Victorian house, the one my late husband, Robert, and I had restored brick by brick with our own hands. Every corner of that home was filled with memories of laughter, late-night coffee, and the sound of our son running down the hallways. When Michael and Amanda got engaged, I thought, this is what parents do. We sacrifice so our children can build their dreams. So I sold my house. My entire life savings, $87,000, handed over so they could have their dream home. They promised me a room, a home, a place where I would always belong. But now, the day before their wedding, the wedding I was paying for, Amanda had decided I was no longer useful. Michael finally spoke, his voice cold. "Mom, this is supposed to be our special weekend. You're ruining everything with your negativity." Negativity. The word stung more than I expected. That morning, I'd been arranging flowers. That afternoon, I'd been helping the caterers. That evening, I'd listened to Amanda complain about everything. The weather, the cake, the napkin colors, and my only negative act, suggesting that maybe, just maybe, we didn't need ice sculptures shaped like swans. I asked, my voice calm but trembling. "Where exactly am I supposed to go?" Amanda didn't even look up from her nails. "I don't know. A hotel? Your sister's? Anywhere but here tomorrow," I reminded her quietly. "This is my son's house, too." Michael shifted awkwardly. "Actually, it's kind of Amanda's house now. She's managed the finances and upgrades. You just helped once." Once? That one word hit harder than any insult could. "Some money once," he said. Like the $87,000 I gave them was pocket change. I stood there, surrounded by the kitchen I helped build, the granite countertops I'd chosen, the cabinets my money bought, the space that was supposed to be our family home. And something inside me didn't break. It changed, like a gear turning into a new position. "You're right," I said softly. "I should go." Amanda blinked, surprised. She'd expected tears, begging, drama she could later laugh about with her friends. But instead, I went upstairs to pack. For 6 months, that guest room had been my home. Not my room. I wasn't allowed to call it that. It was always the guest room, because guests eventually leave. As I folded my clothes into a suitcase, I heard them downstairs already discussing how to redecorate the space. Amanda wanted a yoga studio. Michael thought it would make a good office. Not a single trace of guilt in their voices. I looked at Robert's photograph on the nightstand. 43 years of marriage, and not once did he make me feel unwanted. "Don't worry, sweetheart," I whispered to his picture. "I'm not done yet." Because I wasn't. I sat in my car outside what was once my home, pulled out my phone and called my lawyer, Margaret Chen. "Dorothy," she said, "it's Saturday night. Is everything okay? Margaret, I need you to find the documents for the house purchase." All of them, a pause, then typing. "Has something happened with Michael and Amanda?" I told her everything, every ugly word. When I finished, she sighed. "I've been worried about this. They've been treating your contribution like a gift when legally it wasn't." My heart skipped. "What do you mean?" "Dorothy, remember when I had you sign extra paperwork, just in case? That $87,000 wasn't a gift. It's a loan. And you're listed as a co-owner of the property." "Co-owner?" "Yes. You legally own 35% of that house." I froze. Outside, Amanda was twirling in her wedding dress, laughing on FaceTime. No idea her perfect life was about to shatter. "Margaret," I said slowly, "what if I wanted to sell my share? Then they'd have the option to buy you out. If they can't afford it, the house goes on the market. And you get 35% of the sale." I stared through the kitchen window. Michael was popping champagne. "Margaret," I said, my voice calm and cold, "prepare the notice. First thing Monday morning." She hesitated. "Dorothy, are you sure?" "I've never been more sure in my life." "They want me gone? Fine. But I'm taking my 35% with me." That night, I watched the lights in their windows flicker out. Amanda probably dreaming of her wedding day. Michael probably thinking I'd finally obeyed. But the next 48 hours were going to destroy everything. They thought they controlled. By the time the sun rose on Michael's wedding day, I had already made peace with what I had to do. The house stood quiet, bathed in that golden light that makes everything look softer than it really is. But I wasn't feeling soft anymore. I was feeling sharp, precise, focused. I wasn't Dorothy, the mother who always said yes. I was Dorothy, the woman who had finally learned to say no. At exactly 7 a.m., I sent 2 emails. The first was to Margaret, confirming she should serve the legal notice first thing Monday. The second was to the venue manager. "Good morning," I wrote. "This is Dorothy Wilson, the financial guarantor for the Peterson-Wilson wedding. Please be advised that all payments will be paused effective immediately. Do not proceed with tomorrow's event until further notice." It took about 10 minutes for my phone to start buzzing. Amanda first, then Michael, then her mother, then the wedding planner, whose voice was more panicked than all of them combined. "Mrs. Wilson, please, this will ruin us. Everything's been set up." I calmly replied, "Everything can be taken down too." By 10 a.m., Amanda's white limousine had screeched up the driveway. She stormed into the house like a hurricane in pearls. "What have you done?" she screamed, waving her phone in my face. I didn't flinch. "I canceled a wedding I paid for." "You're welcome." Michael appeared behind her, his face pale. "Mom, this is crazy. People are already arriving. You can't just—" "I can," I interrupted, my tone calm as ever. And I did. Because the person you're marrying made it clear she doesn't want me in your life. So now she can plan her own wedding with her own money. Amanda's face turned red. "You spiteful old," I held up a hand. "Careful, you're standing in my kitchen. Or rather, our kitchen. 35% to be exact." Her mouth opened, then closed. Michael's eyes darted to me. "What are you talking about?" "Ask your lawyer, Michael. Or better yet, call mine. You'll find out who really owns this house." For once, Amanda was speechless. The guests never saw a ceremony that day. By noon, vendors were packing up. Florists were leaving, and Amanda's dream day had turned into a gossip storm. I watched from the porch as trucks rolled away with half-decorated arches and deflated balloons. There was no satisfaction at first, just a quiet sadness. This wasn't the revenge of an angry woman. This was the consequence of a mother finally setting boundaries. That night, I sat in my car again, same spot, same view. Michael's number flashed on my screen. I answered. "Mom, what have you done?" His voice cracked. For a second I heard the boy he used to be. The one who used to bring me breakfast on Mother's Day. "I did what you both asked me to," I said gently. "I disappeared from your family." There was silence. Then a soft, broken, "I didn't mean for it to go this far." "You never do," I whispered, then ended the call. By Monday morning, the legal notice had been delivered. Amanda's shriek could probably be heard halfway down the block. Margaret called me later that day. "They're furious. They didn't realize you still had ownership rights. They can't afford to buy you out. Then they'll have to sell," I said. And just like that, their dream house became a financial nightmare. Over the next few weeks, I stayed at my sister's small cottage by the lake. It wasn't grand, but it was peaceful. I cooked, painted, and listened to the sound of waves instead of arguments. And slowly the noise in my heart began to quiet. Then one afternoon, Margaret called again. "You're not going to believe this. They're trying to negotiate. They want to keep the house." "Of course they do," I said. "But sometimes you don't get to keep what you took for granted." Still, something in me hesitated. Revenge felt good for a while, until you realized it doesn't fill the space love once did. I thought about Robert again, his gentle smile. He'd always told me, "Kindness doesn't mean letting people walk over you. It means knowing when to walk away with grace." So I decided to do exactly that, walk away with grace. But not empty-handed. When the house finally sold, I got my full 35%, $122,000. Amanda and Michael moved into a small apartment across town. For the first time in years, Amanda had to live without someone else's money cushioning her world. As for me, I didn't just move on. I rebuilt. Freedom doesn't always feel how you imagine it will. For the first few weeks after selling the house, I woke up expecting to make breakfast for Michael or help Amanda plan her next big event. Instead, the mornings were quiet, too quiet. At first, the silence hurt, but after a while, it began to heal. The cottage by the lake belonged to my sister, Ruth. She was the complete opposite of Amanda, warm, unfiltered, and honest to a fault. "You finally did it, huh?" she said, pouring me coffee one morning. "You finally stopped playing the nice one." I laughed softly. Guess it only took me 62 years. Ruth winked. Better late than never, sis. For the first time in years, I felt like I could breathe. No criticism, no tension, just peace. I spent my days painting by the water, writing in an old leather journal, and rediscovering who Dorothy Wilson was before she became everyone else's support system. One morning, as I sat sketching the sunrise, my phone buzzed. The name on the screen almost made me drop my pencil. Michael. I hesitated, my thumb hovering over decline. But curiosity won. Mom? His voice was small. Can we talk? My heart softened for a moment, then hardened again when I remembered everything. About what, Michael? Amanda's... She's having a hard time. We're both struggling. We didn't mean for things to get so bad. I sighed. You mean after you kicked me out, humiliated me, and lost the house I helped buy? He was quiet for a long moment. Yeah, after that. You reap what you sow, Michael, I said gently. That's life's first lesson. I just never thought I'd have to teach it to my own son. Later that week, I received an email from Margaret. Amanda had tried to contest the sale in court, claiming my loan was a gift after all. The judge dismissed her case in under 10 minutes. There it was in black and white. Dorothy Wilson, rightful shareholder, compensated in full. When I read those words, I didn't cheer. I didn't dance. I just smiled. The quiet, satisfied smile of a woman who finally got justice without shouting for it. A few months passed. Winter melted into spring. One crisp morning, as I was planting lavender in Ruth's backyard, a familiar car pulled up. Silver Lexus. Amanda stepped out, dressed in designer, sunglasses and an outfit that probably cost more than my old kitchen appliances. But her confidence was gone. Her shoulders drooped. Her eyes were swollen. Mrs. Wilson, she began softly, I wanted to apologize. I kept planting, not even looking up. You've already said enough words in my house, Amanda. None of them were kind. She swallowed hard. I know, I was wrong. About everything. And why the sudden change of heart? Her voice broke. Because Michael left. He said he can't look at me without seeing what we did to you. That hit me like a wave I wasn't ready for. He left you? She nodded, tears forming. He's staying with friends. He doesn't answer my calls. I came here because I don't know where else to go. For a moment, I almost felt pity. Almost. You know, I said quietly, life has a funny way of teaching lessons. Sometimes it doesn't destroy you. It just mirrors your behavior until you see it clearly. Amanda looked away. I thought you'd gloat. No, I said. I just hope you learn. That evening, I sat by the lake and watched the reflection of the sunset ripple across the water. There was no bitterness left in me, no desire to hurt her, just peace. Because forgiveness isn't for them, it's for you. A week later, Michael showed up. He didn't bring flowers or excuses, just a simple, tearful hug. I'm sorry, Mom, he whispered. I don't know what happened to me. I let her turn me against you. I held him, feeling his heartbeat like when he was a child. You made mistakes, I said softly. So did I, but you're my son. That doesn't change. He broke down. And in that moment, years of resentment melted away. That night, I prayed for the first time in months. Not for revenge, not for redemption, just gratitude. Because sometimes, losing everything is how you finally find yourself again. After Michael's visit, the days started to feel lighter again. Not because everything was perfect, but because I finally stopped trying to fix everyone else's mess. Sometimes peace doesn't arrive like a celebration. It just walks quietly into your life the moment you stop chasing chaos. Michael began visiting every Sunday. No grand gestures, no forced smiles, just conversation. He helped with the garden, brought groceries, sometimes just sat beside me in silence. It wasn't the same as before, but maybe that was a good thing. Maybe we were building something new, something honest. You know, he said one afternoon, Amanda called. She wants to make things right. I looked up from my teacup. Some things can be mended, Michael. Others, you just have to let them go. He nodded slowly. I think I already have. That was the first time I saw true maturity in his eyes. Not the kind he pretended to have. The kind life carves into you when you've hit rock bottom. Weeks passed. Spring turned to summer. The lake shimmered in the heat. The air smelled of lilacs. And I'd started volunteering at the local art center. Painting had become my therapy. Each brushstroke like a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. One day, the director of the center stopped by as I was cleaning my brushes. Dorothy, you have real talent, she said. Would you consider showcasing your work in our local gallery next month? I almost laughed. Oh, I'm just an old woman playing with colors. Then let's show everyone what wisdom looks like in color, she smiled. Something about her words stirred me. For so long, my identity had been tied to being someone's mother, someone's wife, someone's helper. But now, for the first time, I was just Dorothy. I spent the next few weeks painting like a woman possessed. Sunrises, still water, wildflowers that never wilted. Each canvas told a story I hadn't been able to say out loud. And when the exhibit opened, people came. They stopped. They stared. Some even cried. One woman whispered, "Your paintings feel like forgiveness." I smiled softly. That's exactly what they are. As the evening went on, I noticed someone standing quietly at the back of the room. Michael. He wasn't alone. Beside him stood Amanda, holding a single white rose. My chest tightened. They walked over slowly. Amanda looked nervous, but her eyes were different this time. Softer, honest. "Your work is beautiful," she said quietly. I wanted to see it for myself. "Thank you," I replied, unsure what else to say. "I don't expect forgiveness," she continued. "But I needed to tell you that I'm truly sorry. You didn't deserve how I treated you." I studied her face. No arrogance, no fake smile. Just humility. "We all make mistakes," I said gently. "The real test is what we learn from them." She nodded, tears brimming. "I learned that kindness isn't weakness." "And I learned that boundaries aren't cruelty," I replied. For a brief moment, it felt like the air itself exhaled. No more tension, just truth. That night, after everyone left, I stood alone in the gallery, surrounded by my paintings, my memories frozen in color. If you'd told me a year ago that the woman who was kicked out of her son's home would be standing here, celebrated and free, I would have laughed. But life has a way of returning what you lose, once you stop clinging to the wrong things. A few days later, Michael called again. "Mom, I got a new job," he said proudly. "And I'm starting therapy. I want to be better." I smiled. "That's all a mother could ever hope for." "Can we have dinner this weekend?" he asked. "Just the two of us. No drama, no Amanda, no tension." "I'd like that," I said. That weekend, as we sat by the water eating takeout pizza, I realized something simple but profound. Peace isn't found in the absence of people who hurt you. It's found in the presence of the person you become after they're gone. It's strange how peace arrives, not with fireworks or applause, but quietly, like a soft knock on the door of your heart. Months passed after that dinner with Michael. He called more often, sometimes just to talk about work, other times just to ask how I was doing. Amanda never tried to rebuild what was broken, and honestly, that was okay. Not every chapter needs a sequel. One morning, as sunlight poured through my kitchen window, I brewed my coffee and stared out at the garden. The same garden I'd once dreamed of sharing with family dinners and laughter. Now it was just me and the quiet hum of peace. And for the first time in a long time, just me was enough. I opened my old photo album, the one I hadn't touched since Robert's passing. There he was, smiling, holding baby Michael in his arms. That picture used to make me ache. Now it made me smile. "You'd be proud, Robert," I whispered. "Your son's learning." Slowly, but he's learning. Grief has a way of softening when you finally make peace with the lessons it leaves behind. Later that afternoon, my phone buzzed. It was Margaret, my lawyer. "Dorothy, I've finished finalizing the house sale," she said. "Your 35% came to just under $112,000 after taxes." I blinked in surprise. "That much?" "Yes," she said. "Enough to start something new." "Have you thought about what you'll do next?" I smiled. "Actually, I have." 2 months later, I bought a small lake cottage an hour outside the city. It wasn't grand or modern, but it was mine. Every nail, every paint stroke, every sunrise reflected in the water belonged to me. I named it Haven House. I started hosting weekend art retreats for women my age, widows, single mothers, women who'd been told they were too old to start over. They'd arrive burdened by heartbreak, exhaustion, or loneliness. And they'd leave with color on their fingers and laughter in their voices. One woman hugged me at the end of her stay and said, "You have no idea how much I needed this." I hugged her back. "Oh, trust me," I said softly, "I do." The story could have ended with revenge, with bitterness, with Dorothy getting even. But that's not the kind of victory that lasts. True victory is standing in your own home, in your own peace, and knowing you didn't let the people who broke you define you. Sometimes life takes everything from you, your house, your family, your sense of belonging, not to punish you, but to remind you who you are without all the noise. And once you find that person again, you realize you were never truly erased. So if you've ever been made to feel unwanted, forgotten, or invisible, remember this. You are not disposable. You are not replaceable. And the truth you carry, the truth of your love, your sacrifice, your worth, can never be erased. If you're still here listening to my story, thank you. Maybe you've been where I've been. Maybe you've loved people who didn't deserve it. Maybe you've lost yourself trying to keep everyone else whole. But maybe it's time to start your own new chapter too. Because sometimes the best gift you can give anyone is finally choosing yourself.